Hey, you know how in movies they're always like, anytime anyone drinks a Red Bull, it's like they're like on meth or something or PCP and they're like jumping around and like, oh god, let's do this and that and this and that and everything. Well, they don't work like that and they're shit. Sorry, but I mean, they suck. I've been drinking coffee all day and I'm gonna tell you, when you get old, um, they're not gonna do shit. If they do something for you now when you're younger, then it's just because you already have that energy. It's just supplying the vitamins in your system with something that it needs, that it already has, I guess. It's just activating it. But, unfortunately, I know exactly what it feels like to be super dementiaed out and old and can't tell what people are saying and everything because I lived in a house with black mold for a year and a half. And it makes you have all the symptoms. You get muscle aches and joint aches and can't see worth a crap, your depth perception is off, you can't hear, you get super tired, you start having weird dementia where you can't remember shit. It's like pretty much exactly like that. And, I don't know, the last few days, I've kind of felt like a 5-year-old kid, but with the dementia where you can't remember shit. So please, um, forgive me if I'm slow here. I'm super tired even though I've been drinking coffee all day. Not energy drinks, because they're crap. Um, the I just figured, okay, well, let's do Aquarius because they are basically like the nursing home folks of the zodiac. That's kind of what they represent in modern times. I know you're not gonna find like a probably not anyway as an astrology book that describes them that way. That's basically what they are. It's not like the older person, I'll just say elderly, that like lives by themselves on a farm and they can take care of it. It's like a nursing home. It's basically what they are. And I'm not like um, insulting in any way. There's many good things about that. They're the sign of second childhood. Um, second, so it's not like the first. There's a big difference. Um, so I'll talk about them all from an age perspective every time I do one of these, I guess. And Aquarius, you just have to think of them like a person that's been in a nursing home that's just slightly has Alzheimer's, just slightly. And that's basically what you can think of them as, and depending on what planet it is associated with, like, um, I'm having dementia problems there. Um, if you just think of that and then attach it to everything they do, it kind of makes sense. Like, sort of have like bursts of energy, or like, you can just like go, 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 and then like weird crashy. It's like, oh man, Aquarius are complicated and hard. I should kind of glad that I'm starting with the hardest one, but um, because nobody really understands them except for other Aquarians, and even in my experience, they usually don't understand each other because they're a fixed sign, and fixed signs have a really hard time getting along with another person of their own sign. I'll just start with it like, okay, for one thing, they won't reach their comfortable stage until they've gotten into that much, much older age, like around 70s, 80s, 90s, something like that. So that means they don't feel grown up or like at a stopping stage, like until they get to that age. So they basically feel like not grown up, like way young, their entire lives pretty much. If you notice, like, if you have one in your family, they'll, get up at the crack of dawn or the crack of noon, depending on if they're a day or night person, just be able to just go and go and go and go, and they just seem to have a lot of energy. Like, it depends on the other planets and a lot of other stuff, but I think that's mostly because the second childhood thing, they don't get old until they get old, and then it's usually like a fast, like, hitting a wall type thing. Which I think it's kind of that way with all the fixed signs. It's even more pronounced when they reach their, like, their comfort age is what I call it. But if you think about it, also, when the reason they're so eccentric, they have this thing about always needing to be different. Like, they have to be different. Like, if everyone's driving cherry red Mustangs, they need to ride like a banana yellow, like, antique van or something. Because it's like, it's different. They feel like, almost like they've been living all these years and, like, they're just so sick of the norm. Like, they just want to, anything weird, anything interesting, because they hardly ever fear anything. I've never met an Aquarius that was scared of practically anything. They may fear like one or two things in their life, but they have hardly any fear. But if you think about it, if you're in a nursing home and you're close to death, basically, are you going to be afraid of much? No. I've never met anyone in a nursing home that was afraid of anything either, really. Yet paranoia is actually pretty common, even though they're not, it's kind of not the same thing, but I have known people in nursing homes, but yeah, the paranoia thing, a lot of people when they get older are paranoid, and I don't know what it is, but like Aquarius seems to have that too, like be paranoid about weird things when nothing's really going on and all that, but then fear almost nothing. And okay, think about, like, what I'm saying is all you have to do is every time you come up to an Aquarius person, or let's, if they have another planet, then whatever that part of their life, then you just got to think of it as you're looking into the eyes of a 89-year-old person in a nursing home, no matter what age they are, because that's their age thing. How do you describe this? I know that sounds very far-fetched, but you'll start to notice if you keep looking for it. Like, for instance, older people, you'll never be able to convince them of anything. They're always dead set on whatever they know. And if they heard it, then it's true. If you heard it, then it's not true until they heard it. Like if you say, oh, well, they suddenly said that milk is absolutely poisonous and everything, you shouldn't drink it, they're like, yeah, I think it's fine though. And, until, and then it's on the news, it's like, hey, I heard that milk is poisonous. Did you know that? And you're like, yeah, I told you a couple days ago, remember? They're like, no, no, no. They say it's poisonous now, though. It's like, they will add their own, like, enthusiasm to whatever they hear, their ideas, but they will never, ever accept an idea of yours, which is kind of the same with all the signs, but they seem to be, a little bit more closed off, but also they're an air sign, which makes them slightly more open. If it's interesting and it's new and it's different, then they might be a little bit more open to accepting whatever you have to say. Also, tons of life stories. Aquarius always have tons of life stories, just like if they were at the very end of their life. And they're always like super interesting. Like, you think like, how old are you? Like, it'll be like the 17-year-old, and they're like saying, yeah, I rode on horseback across Iowa, blah 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 blah. I did this and that. I almost died. I was a championship weightlifter. Blah blah blah. They'll have like 70, 100 stories, and you're like, well, how did you get all this done in this short amount of time? It's like they'll take. Usually they have pretty damn interesting lives to begin with, but like they'll take every interesting thing they have, put it into a story because almost everything seems interesting to them, and and also sort of sometimes blow it out of proportion. Like maybe somebody left a tiny brown kitten on their doorstep one day, and everything, and they took care of it. But in their story, maybe it was like 10 kittens, and somebody dropped them off, and they're like, yeah, and it was the neighbor Tom. I know it was, because he had like 6 cats, and I know he was jumping, like dropping them off so that I would have to take care of them, and then one of them was already pregnant and everything, and really it was like, well, they just suspected that the neighbor was, and it's like whatever they had in their head at the time of how things were going, they'll just go ahead and put that in there as fact because it's so much more interesting. You know, it's not that they actually think it's fake, they really think it happened that way. It's just like, if it was a more interesting way they can think about it back then that's how it happened. It just kind of like gets recorded in their brain that way. Like what I was saying with the dementia thing, they're kind of a little bit forgetful in that way. Spacey, very, very, very spacey. Not like Pisces. They're different. They're more like they're off another land. Aquarius is more like, oh my god, like, look at that ant over there. What is it doing? Like, and someone can be talking to them like, are you okay? Like, did you see that ant? It's like, because they're off, they're not off in another land, but they're like intensely analyzing something in the room because they're not. I see they're interested in almost anything, but yet interested in almost nothing because they feel like they've seen it all, almost, and done it all. It's like, what can you possibly show me, like a person in a nursing home? Um, I say nursing home because I don't. Capricorn is more the live alone type. The nursing home, it fits because they're not quite, what do you call that? Like, analytical enough to survive in the real world, even though they do. Like, all the signs do find a way to survive, but they don't survive in a very, professional way, maybe would be the term. They kind of need people to do the complicated stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're very good with, like, physical labor, and sometimes, like, really good with, like, super, super complicated smart stuff, like rocket science or whatever, and things that other people can't do. But this simple, normal, everyday stuff is what they struggle with, and a lot of signs do, and then yet there are the other half of the signs that are really good at the everyday stuff and can't do the eccentric stuff. It's kind of the way they're made. Um, okay, for example, my stepdad, he has so much trouble, like, with the taxes. Like, sorry, Wayne, but if Mom wasn't here to take care of that stuff, I don't know, something bad would happen. Like, the world would blow up or something. But yeah, I know you could like, hell, I don't know, maybe you could build a robot from scratch. I have no idea what kind of skills you have, but like, they're definitely eccentric, and that's what Aquarius thrives in, is the eccentric. Anything eccentric. You know, you talk to an old person like, what do you know how to do? And it's like, um, oh my god, like make soap, how to do an autopsy, how to, oh god, I don't even know what. I don't have an Aquarius in my chart, I guess. Just very cool stuff that doesn't come along in a needy way all the time. Um, that's why I say nursing home, is because they kind of need someone to take care of that mundane stuff. Um, it's not like they literally need their diapers changed or anything like that. That wouldn't be converted into it. But like, um, they just, I don't know, they'd be better living like that, I think, because lots of people around and everything. But you know, they're plenty capable. It doesn't mean even the people in nursing homes, most of them are probably plenty capable, and people underestimate them. That happens with them a lot too, because they see them as weird or whatever, and incapable, which they're very capable. I mean, even mundane stuff, they'll find a weird way around it to know how to do it and get it done. Maybe in a way that needs to be redone a couple hundred times, but they'll eventually get it, you know. And um, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Um, it's basically second childhood. Oh, talking about the other planets, such as Moon. Moon, you just convert Sun to basically mind and spirituality and everything like that. So it won't be as extreme in Moon, but Moon rules the mind. So you just think about that stuff and turn it into what that planet rules. Um, for example, like Venus. Um, you take Aquarius and Venus. Think about an old person dating in a nursing home. Like they they're past all that crap about needing flowers or 6 kids on a white picket fence. They're not like, no, they're not gonna go for that shit at all. They're like, you know, what's new and interesting, and I'm just, I can be with you just so you could play cards with me. Like I will just have you around. Just, you know, they're like that. Like if you were in a nursing home, you just think, what kind of relationship would you have? You'd probably have other people there, and you may not even sleep with them. You just have them as friends or whatever. They're very open to like anything new because they don't identify with the average relationshipy stuff at all, because they feel like maybe they've already done that. That's boring. I don't need that. I'm above that. Blah blah blah. Which can sometimes be a good thing. They're not emotional though. You know, a lot of people that get married older, they'll just kind of think, oh, hey, you know, like, you want to get married? Like, yeah. They're like, they've only known the person maybe 2 weeks. It's like they don't care too much about that kind of stuff. They just want, they're usually loyal because they believe, well, hey, if you're here, like, that's the rules to not cheat, so why would I cheat? You know, it's like, they don't even think, why would someone cheat? Like, I don't get it. They're like, they're just like, stick to the rules if that's the rule, like, just do it. They're like, um, they don't need any of that crap. Um, you know, also, grace is a sign for institutions, schools, asylums, nursing homes, which is also another good reason why it goes well with it. Um, the roboticness. Sometimes when you get older, like just going through the motions, that is a lot with them. They're very robotic. they they don't they don't necessarily think about what is the emotional value of why I'm doing this. Do I feel happy doing this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I need to go to this room to pour some orange juice, and then I will bring orange juice back to your room and I will drink orange juice. It's kind of like that. Like, it's like, well, I need to get the orange juice, and other people are like, well, what if the orange juice makes me fat? Or like, what if the orange juice doesn't make me happy? Or like, what if it hurts like going into the kitchen to get the orange juice or something like that? You know, it's like they have to think about all these things and they're like, just get the orange juice. Like, they don't, they think about it in a robotic, sort of analytical way. They're good at that. I would say a lot of people, elderly people are good too because they're past a lot of emotional stuff. And they don't have all those crappy hormones that stick around basically your whole life and all that. But I don't know, I mean, there's some good things to second childhood, especially if you're just seeing it in the way of Aquarius, then yeah, there's a ton of good qualities. But you know, I'm not like a lot of astrologers that will say, oh, Aquarius is the best. Like, I don't know why astrologers obsess over that, because they're no better or worse than any of the other signs, in my opinion. But I'm not going to give them favoritism. I'm going to try not to give anyone favoritism. But, okay, the planets, like I was saying about the Venus, non-emotional, usually loyal, sticks to the rules. They're very big on rules, because rules, like, define where you can go. Like, if you're thinking about a lab rat in a maze, you have to have the walls to even make it a maze. They're like that. They think in a laboratory type way. They're kind of like a mad scientist. So without the rules, they don't know where to go. Everything's kind of like, I don't know, like they don't know where to go. They like the comfort of rules, but yet they always like to go against the norm, so it's kind of like a contradiction, which all of them have contradictions, all of the zodiac signs. Pretty blatant ones too, but that's pretty much theirs. Is like steady control, like institution, but yet hippie. See, those are two different things, mad scientist and hippie. Kind of like complete opposites of each other, but yet they both exist in Aquarius. Okay, so the planets, I think you get the idea, except for maybe Mars. Mars, if they get angry, or if they have Aquarius in Mars, let's say maybe they get angry, then they'll think about it more in a logical way. They won't just explode or anything like that. They won't be, not like a fire sign or anything like that would. Also, yeah, I was saying about their comfort age. So if you think about Mars, like, I don't know, like, their knowledge of, like, anything sexual stops at the age that it's at. Like, Aquarius, they want to add things to it. I mean, Aquarius and Mars, they want to add to their knowledge and be even weird and into weird shit and everything. Just expand their horizons until they get to that older age. So basically their whole life they're experimenting. And it's kind of that way with all the signs in the Mars. Like, they'll stop moving forward in that planet's area of expertise when they get to the sign that it's in, that age of it. So for them it would be 70s, 80s, something like that. Okay, so I think that's about it. Hi to all you Aquarius, if you're watching. It's probably your family though, because they don't understand you. It's probably all who's going to watch these videos is probably people that have family and then don't understand them. But, oh well. I think that's about it. Bye bye.